invite our panelists. First of our panelists is actually the responsible for the symposium, Marcelo Mira, which is the director for international relations at PUCPR. Welcome, Marcelo Mira. We have also with us Marcello Fantoni, which is the associate provost of Kent State University Global Office of Global Education. He was, of course, the previous director of Kent State University in Florence, Italy, and he's going to share with us the knowledge that he have about this campus. We have with us also Jaewoo, and Jaewoo is the former Associate Vice President for International Affairs at Dankook University in South Korea. Welcome, Jaewoo. And we have with us also Nancy Hellerud, which is the Vice President for Academic Affairs at Webster University. And among several duties that she has in the Webster University, she's responsible to the study abroad, global program development, and all the Webster international networks of schools that is quite large and one of the biggest international universities in the United States. Welcome, Nancy. It's very good to have all of you here. To start to warm up our conversation, I think we need to address, before I go directly to the campus issues, we need to address one of the main issue that we have here at our times, which is the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that this pandemic times is affecting internationalization, higher education a lot. So our higher education is we have some trouble in the YouTube.
I think we may have technical issues here.
Technical issues.
Yes. We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. We're back.
So I think we are back. Okay, they are asking me to repeat the introduction. Okay, I'll try to remember what I said before, but just good evening to everyone. Thank you for joining us here at this symposium, this webinar. It's a pleasure to have all of you here. I'm Paulo Mussi, the Director of American Academy and host of this webinar. We are going to have this webinar a very informal conversation. So everyone that is now watching us is invited to participate in our conversation through the chat, sending their questions. We are going to read all the questions. At the end of the webinar, we are going to also to send you a link where you can download the certificate of participation in this webinar. As I said before, we are very, very pleased to have here with us several experts from all around the world, from the United States, South Korea, and Italy, and United States as well, and Brazil, of course. They are going to share their knowledge and their experience with us here about how international higher education is facing this crisis, and their visions about the future as well. I'm just going to reintroduce everyone just quickly. We have with us Marcelo Mira, the Director for International Relations at PUCPR, and the idealizer of this symposium. Welcome, Marcelo.
Thank you.
We have also Marcello Fantoni, the Associate Provost of the Office of Global Education at Kent State University in the United States. And he's the former director for Kent State University in Florence, Italy. So he was the responsible for Kent State campus in Florence. Welcome, Marcello. Thank you for joining us. We have with us also Jaewoo Shim, which is the former Associate Vice President for International Affairs at Dankook University in South Korea. And he was responsible when Dankook University joined the campus in Florence as well. Thank you. Welcome, Jaewoo. And finally, we have Nancy Hellerud, which is the Vice President for Academic Affairs at Webster University, which she has several roles at university, several duties at the university, and she's also oversees all study abroad, global program developments, and all the Webster international networks of schools spread through the globe. So welcome, Nancy. Thank you for being with us. I think she's having some technical issues, but she's going to join us whenever she's available. Okay. As I mentioned before, just to start up our conversation, we are facing this COVID-19 pandemic. And during this period of time, of course, internationalization of higher educations are at risk. I understand that. We are facing restrictions of every sort, including budgetary restrictions. And those restrictions put universities in a place that we need to, I think, to move forward and to innovate to remain relevant. And that's why I think a big challenge that we have. Okay. And in this scenario, I want to start our conversation asking your thoughts about how is this, well, I would call it a branch campus. A branch campus is actually, is it a good, a viable, a feasible strategy for these times that we are facing right now? Do you think having a branch campus is still a good internationalization strategy? And anyone can take this question from that.
Hey, Paulo, you just started with a tough one, man.
Yeah, just a warm up. Yeah.
That's not easy. That's not easy. I'll try to start by making a more general comment, and that is something that I said earlier this morning at the opening session of the symposium. You know, the pandemic forced us to isolate ourselves from social contact. Mm-hmm. But I think that very quickly, you know, most of us realized that by being forced into social isolation, we perceived very sharply and very clearly the importance of human connection, right? It's the classic thing, right? As soon as you miss something that is really important, it becomes very obvious what you're missing. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, probably everybody in the world, but in the international education, educators particularly, just immediately, you know, put their creativity to work and started to do amazing things to reconnect somehow. Mm-hmm. By reaching out to our students who were abroad, by reaching out to our students who were here in our campuses, but from somewhere else. And right after that, as soon as we realized that our people were safe, both the incoming and the outgoing students, you know, we started to have these bright ideas. And I think what's happening here is a good example of that. Mm-hmm. So again, I guess it's a classic, right? Mm-hmm. In times of crisis, you really have bright, curious, restless people, you know, jumping in and finding solutions to amazingly complex problems. Now, mm-hmm. having a branch campus abroad in times of pandemic, that is a tough one. Yeah. I think the easy way to answer is this is not going to last forever. Mm-hmm. This is going to go away, you know, and I hope sooner than later. And I guess the challenge now is to be ready for that time, when that time comes. And people resume, you know, traveling and mobility across borders. How can we take advantage of the lessons that we've learned to maybe make a branch campus something even more exciting than it is now?
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Anyone else wants to address? Nancy, then
yeah, I would just add that I think that having a branch campus pandemic did for us. One, it makes you very aware of global programs of global problems and the spread of them. So in addition to our great partnership with Florence, we have campuses in Africa, in Thailand, we have programs in China, we have 4 other campuses in Europe and we have a new campus in Uzbekistan, and it made us very aware that when it first started, it was not impacting the US, but you could see the problem in other countries. And secondly, I think that having branch campuses really provided a strong network of support for our students who were studying abroad that perhaps was not exactly the same if you were going through a typical partnership. What we found when the pandemic came was that our students and their parents, when they were considering how to move their students back home, or whether it was better actually to have safe haven in the place where they were staying, they were comfortable because they knew that at our branch campuses that staff and faculty were people that we knew and had long relationships and would care for our students in a way that we would from our own campus. So I think it led to a level of sort of comfort with traveling the world, or in a really strange and challenging time for them.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Marcello, I think your mic is off.
Okay. Voila. Thank you very much. Well, I start by saying that I do agree with Marcello that this circumstance of the pandemic will be over. But also, on top of that, which means that we will go back to operating, on top of that, I think internationalization will be back. We'll be back maybe even with more energy than before. And it's precisely in this moment that I think we are seeing how much deeply rooted it was, definitely in our universities, but in general, in the mindset of the students. Why I think having branch campuses is it's an advantage in this moment. It's actually an opportunity for universities. And I have to acknowledge that what we are doing at Kent State is very much what we have learned from Webster universities over the years. So we are kind of following that model, adjusting it to the circumstances of Kent State. But why is it an opportunity? Because I think whenever we'll go back, whatever the going back will be, we need to have more options. We need to differentiate the academic offer. And branch campuses is one of the many that we can offer to international students. And that's the second thing. At Kent State, we are noticing, and we are relatively young in this, that we live in a world that changes constantly, and offering international students opportunities to go at different destinations creates very successful alternatives. Our international population in Florence has increased up to 20%. And I think when you travel the world, if you can say, you can study at Kent State and you can go A, B, C, D, I think that it's a broader menu for international students. One more thing, and the 4 universities that are participating in this conversation, PUCI, Webster, Dancock, and Kent, are kind of the proof of this. International campuses can offer the chance for joining of forces between institutions. And I think one lesson of this pandemic is that we have to switch gear from competing with one another to collaborating and sharing a lot more than before. So I would say that branch campuses, whichever format they are established, are a great opportunity for us to continue to grow, but in a shared environment.
Interesting. Thank you, Marcello.
You're welcome.
Jaewoo?
I think all of you said many interesting and important points already, and I just wanted to point out a couple of things from my experience that we have summer school and we have students coming from all over the world, and in fact maybe 20 some different nationalities, and time to time we always realize that there are so many people come to Korea just to maybe experience and maybe to have different kind of environment. But it turns out that very important point is that when they do come and experience different culture, and which is totally different from what they were used to, then they learn. Then they learn not only that there are other parts which they're not familiar with, but also it gives them. Many times I see that give them motivations. See, a lot of students nowadays, maybe perhaps some of them lacks motivation. Right? They're all smart. They have too many tools to give them to be successful and whatnot. But motivation is one thing that they could really gain from this, internationalization or international education that they could get from by, collaborating with students, be part of the group studies and so on. And I saw many cases like that. And our students going to places like Kent, of course, and we also send students to Disney program and so on. And when they come back, they become very different. So I think internationalization, of course, is very, very important. Also, branch is very important because you need to be there physically. Of course, if they do change online education, quite different from what we have now, things may change, of course. But at the point, there are so many courses, there are so many online courses that you could take it from all over the world, and not being there physically. I don't know that if that has any advantages at all. I think you need to be there at different branches, learning the live in that community, which is quite different from your home. I think that's very, very important. Not only the education part, and I think that's why the branch campus is very important. We do have like 6 other locations in terms of the centers, and we try to send students, and we try to do that, and they also learn many things from that branches as well. So just to say that, yeah.
Perfect. Thank you, Dar. Marcello.
Yeah, just one thing. We are all experiencing the switching to the online modality, and that's unavoidable and it's necessary. However, I think for internationalization, I have nothing against online, but I think for the internationalization, there is a cultural and human component that cannot be substituted by the online. I'm a firm believer that higher education institutions are not only supposed to produce dentists, journalists, or engineers, but better human beings. So the physical interaction with other individuals belonging to different cultures is irreplaceable. Hence, the campuses must continue to play a central role in the way we envision internationalization.
Interesting.
Very good point.
Can I add something, Paulo? I'm listening here, and of course, PUCPR, I guess, is the youngest in the field of branching, of international branch campuses, because this is the first time in our history that we're sharing a campus somewhere else other than our own country, our own state. And I hear Nancy, Webster University is the definition of a university that is branched everywhere, right? It's been created like that. The idea was that, and then Dunkirk also, and Kent State, and so on. But I guess that Marcello said something that is really important, really, really important. It's not, we're talking about something more special than a branch campus here, because we're talking about a campus that is shared by 4 different universities from 3 different countries. So we're going beyond that, right? Because of course, the physical presence is important, to travel is important, and to meet people in person is important, to be exposed to all this. But the whole idea of having a single place in the world where different universities can get together and offer that single place to different students coming from different continents, to me, is incredible. It's really fantastic. It's amazing. I don't know you guys, but I don't know that many initiatives such as this one.
I would agree, Marcello. I would just say that, you know, you can establish branch campuses from one university, and that can be a very interesting project to do. But when you have a strategic partner, like for us, starting with Kent State, probably 8 years ago with our Geneva connections, having a strategic partner, things just expand exponentially, right? Because it's not just your one partnership. That connection with one strategic partner brings you, again, the 4 of us here, plus the other partnerships that we have, and then it just expands for your students, most importantly, but also for Webster, we find the faculty mobility piece of it, or the faculty connection of it, to be just fantastic, because there are opportunities in Florence, Italy, for teaching for our faculty that do not exist in our other locations, simply because Florence is in Italy, for one thing, and because of the programmatic opportunities in Florence that we might not have in our other campuses. So I think the way the connections grow and expand because of this kind of partnership is really important, and spreads so much more widely than one university setting up its own branch campuses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Marcello.
Muted myself. And let's look at the 4 of us, because you know the discussion revolves around Florence, but that is just the beginning of a much broader collaboration. I would like to say, for instance, that Kent State sends students to the Webster Ghana campus, to the Webster Geneva campus, to the Webster Vienna campus. We would never have the resources to have our own facilities, our own infrastructures there. And I also have to say, and with gratitude, that Jaewoo has invited Kent State ESL program to be part of this network of 7 Korean centers in Asia, where we will, I hope, be able to teach Korean and English to the same students. So I think there was an old paradigm that we are competing with ourselves. But by sharing campuses, we don't subtract anything. We actually add value to what we do. And especially if that helps the 2 fundamental sides of it. One is that our campuses have to stay sustainable. Kent State will never allow one of our campuses to survive if we would consistently lose money. And the other thing, which is my opinion even more important, if the end game is providing good education, well, this is, how do you say, putting on steroids what we can do for our students that alone we would not be able to do.
Yeah. I think, Marcello, you made a great point there, because as you mentioned before, this pandemic kind of enhanced almost everything that we need to change. And one change that we need to do is it's go beyond competition to go to collaboration. And I think this what we are seeing here and in Florence campus actually is kind of a visionary in this movement. There's a very good start before the pandemic. The campus is way before. So there is this movement through collaboration, which I think is thriving and having a very good like a leverage for the developer of every university that is part of this campus. One of our audience just asked us, why Florence? Why Florence? Why start with Florence? Is there any special reason? Of course, there's several special reasons, but I want to hear from you. Why start in Florence? This kind of collaboration.
Me?
Yes, it's up to you, of course.
Or
Okay.
Nancy or Jaewoo, whatever.
Obviously, because I am from Florence, so that's where. Okay, I will give two answers. Why Florence for Kent State, and why Florence for the four of us? Florence for Kent State, it's because 50 years ago, some random architect at Kent State wanted to bring a few students to Florence to look at where architecture was born. And one thing led to another. We started with 11 students, and then the campus grew naturally into almost 1,000 now. So, and I think that is how most of our international activities started. The initiative of a single faculty or a single administrator. And I have to say, Florence obviously has, something different to offer from Curitiba, Dankook. But really, in the end, for the education of students, it can be anywhere. It doesn't matter. It's what you make out of that place that is important. It's not where it is. Mm-hmm. And then why Florence for all of us? Because, I think I'm the oldest in this conversation. So I can claim that I'm old school. It's all about trust and personal relationship. Mm-hmm. When you meet with the right people, we have many opportunities to meet at conferences, events, fairs. But when you meet with the right people, it's spontaneous to say, okay, what can we do together? Mm-hmm. And you bring whatever you have to offer to that conversation. So I think that too is somehow a natural growth through the connections that you build.
Perfect. Nancy?
Well, I would say that I would go to Marcello's point about the relationships being important. So for us, it wasn't a question, I would say, so much of why Florence. That was secondary to the question of why Kent State, why the partnership with Kent State. And because we had a very solid partnership beginning in 2012 in Geneva, I think that if Marcello had said, and now Kent State will open in Madrid or Lisbon or whatever, Webster would have been very interested because we have the partnership, we have the trust in each other, we have complementary programs. I would say in the US, Kent State and Webster are not competitors. Kent's a large public research university in Ohio. We're a medium-sized private master's granting institution in St. Louis, but it was the partnership that was the root of it. Of course, we wanted to first see Florence and of course, understand the academic program opportunities it would offer for our students and our faculty. But beyond that, it was really about what Marcello said. If you have a good strategic partnership where that person and where that institution goes, you'll be interested in hearing about that and potentially finding a way that you can connect some of your people and your programs to that opportunity. And I think it can be the same across all of our partners. So as I mentioned, like our new location is in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, and we're growing those opportunities not just for students there, but for partners to help us. And I think it's a way we can all think that whatever any one of us or any other partner that we have is thinking, it's worth the conversation, it's worth the evaluation to see if it's something that fits in your strategic planning for your institution.
Mm-hmm. Perfect, thank you. Jaewoo,
Yeah, And I think that, just to add up, I agree completely. It's not about the place, it's about the people and the institutions. I think that was a perfect comment. But I think it doesn't hurt that it's in Florence also, right? That's an amazing, beautiful, sexy city, and you know, there's so many interesting things to do and see and learn in Florence. And I guess that is not only the fact that it's in Florence, like a worldwide, very well known city, and but also, I guess, again, we Pookie, we are the newcomers. We'll still have to see how this works for us. But I would assume that being in Florence, our shared campus, helps make it sustainable, right? Because it's easy to convince people to go to Florence and to visit Florence, and it's easy to design programs and courses that will appeal to the big public if it's in Florence. So I guess the fact that we are talking about a city that is so attractive to every single person in the world will help, and it does help make this the whole idea, the whole concept, something that is sustainable.
Thank you. Jaewoo?
Okay, for us, as all of you mentioned that strategic partnership is very, very important, and we have a very strong relationship with the Kent State, and starting from I believe 2014 or so, and because of their generosity of offering, to get their campus to us, we're able to send students on 3 different occasions. We started with like 7 students back in about maybe 2000, I believe, 15 or 16, and then 20, and then 30. So it's been growing. And when we do the selection of students, they would apply, and we would do the interviews. We'll look at their documents, for example, GPAs and whatnot. Their what is it? I guess their self-introduction and what they want to do when they go to places like Florence, which is of course very demanding. I suppose demanding location. And of course, because the Kent State provides such a great, teaching facilities, great professors, facilities great, very, very well established. So obviously, when we select students, we were getting, 5 times what number of students they were sending. So last time we had 30 students going to Kent, which means we had roughly about 150 students apply for that spot. So it's a very competitive, but because of that, I think it's a very strong location where students like to go. We send students to all over the world, but Kent is definitely one of the strongest places in Florence, as well as Kent in Ohio, of course. So yeah, so the back to your question. Florence is very important location because it's the place where started Renaissance, right? Architecture, history, all that, people. So I think it's a very excellent location, and you have great faculties there to teach, and location is ideally located, I think. And Kent was very generous enough to offer their campus to us. So. It's been working very well, and we need to hopefully develop further collaboration with PUCPR and Webster, if that's possible.
Okay. Professor Nancy, just Marcello went. Your mic, Marcello.
Okay. Well, and what I want to say here is that there are 4 institutions. We represent 4 institutions. The relationship that we have with each other should not be seen as mutually exclusive. That, I think, would be a narrow-minded way to approach growing together. So, sorry, I can't think of a better metaphor. I think we should all be practicing free polygamy somehow among ourselves, right? Because that's the only way to cross-pollinate and grow together. If our goal is to provide good education to students. So, we are sending students to Brazil. There are students from Brazil going to Italy, but we also have students going to Geneva and students from, so that is exactly what we need. And we need that is changing the concept of partnership. When I arrived at Kent, we had a file cabinet with 250 agreements. You do nothing with that. You really do nothing. You need to identify the right partners and grow vertically the relationship, not expand the number of signed agreements. Mm-hmm. And when you have identified the right partners, it's with them, because you trust them, as Nancy said, the institution, what they have to offer, their complementarity, mm-hmm. that you have to grow together. That's I think what we have to now more than ever, because the conversation started when Paulo asked about what is changing with COVID. I think now more than ever before.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. I just wanted to go back to one point that Nancy raised. Of course, we are discussing the benefits for the students of having this great opportunities for them to go abroad and to be immersed in different cultures and have this great experience as well. But Nancy brought the idea of the connections of the faculty side of this agreement. And how can you use this campus, this collaboration to enhance the experience of our faculty members? What are your thoughts about that? I go directly to Nancy, that since you raised this question, do you have any ideas? How can you use these collaborations to enhance the experience of our faculty through these collaborations?
Sure. Well, I would say for us, a couple of things. One is that we find at Webster, at our main campus in St. Louis, Missouri, our undergraduate population is not a group that has done a lot of international travel when they come to the university. Most likely, not only is their first travel out of the country at Webster, but they never had a passport, right? Some of them have not traveled far beyond the Midwest. So part of our plan to get those students abroad is you have to get the faculty behind it, which means to us, you have to get the faculty abroad. So if the faculty are abroad, if they're going to Florence to teach the philosophy of Machiavelli, which I know is a program we run every year, then the students at our main campus will hear about it. They'll know the faculty member who's going. They will go themselves. So their first opportunity out of the country might be that. So I think the faculty connection is so important because the students follow the faculty, or at least follow their advice about studying abroad. Secondly, I think for Webster, the partnership with Kent is very good because our international campuses are not extremely large, right? And they like on our main campus, we might have 100 undergraduate programs. At our international branch campus, we might have 12 or 15 undergraduate programs. And so what partnerships do is offer the opportunity for faculty in programs that are not offered in our other branch campuses, or in disciplines where it's harder to get the students to study abroad to find programming that really fits their major. I think having partners is so very important. And I think that means the academic connections need to grow between faculty to faculty, because Marcello mentioned that they send, that Kent State students and faculty go to our campus in Ghana. That's in their programs of public health and nursing. And so I think if we can provide each other opportunities for specific majors and students to come, for faculty to connect, that can be really a benefit for us all. So we have, my last point, we have a faculty mobility program where we fund and we have a competitive opportunity each year for faculty to apply to teach in one of our branch campuses, and Florence is one of those branch campuses. So faculty are welcome to apply to teach elsewhere, and I think having partners just expands the opportunities for our faculty.
Wonderful. Marcello.
You know, speaking of faculty mobility, it's undoubtful that Webster is a model to be emulated. I visited Webster a few times, and we had an opportunity to talk about what we do. And their faculty mobility program organization policies, I think, are the most advanced I've ever encountered around. And I want to underline this for two reasons. I think because partnerships and sharing is also an opportunity to learn from each other. If we want to do it well, faculty mobility, I think we have to look at Webster. If we want to do well language centers around the world, well, we have to look at Dankook. If we want to include community service into going abroad, well, we have to look at PUCI. We all have to learn from each other. But specifically about faculty mobility, Kent State has great faculty. So I don't want to, get in trouble with what I'm about to say. But I think we also have the responsibility to educate faculty to international, because it's only through faculty that you get to the students or you change the culture of the university. And you can only educate them by direct experience. So faculty mobility is essential for the internationalization of an institution.
Thank you. Jaewoo, I think then Marcelo.
Okay.
I have a question for particularly for Nancy, because you have many branches abroad. I would presume that you have very good faculty mobility, as Marcello said. So you have many faculties going to different locations. There's a lot of mobile among your faculty. That's making assumption that's what's happening. But on the the new since we had COVID-19, and that's sort of difficult to do that. So I was wondering what you think about having more of online courses or development of online courses to substitute some of the mobilities. What are your thoughts if the COVID-19 prolongs more than what is anticipated? Say, for example, if it goes into another couple of years, how would you anticipate the faculty mobility? And those are some of the things that I'd like to share with you. Maybe you could give us some thoughts about that.
Sure. Well, I would say two things. I would say, number one, going back to, I think it was Paulo's original question of how COVID-19 is impacting us. What I see at Webster is while we have had to cancel our fall, the rest of our spring and then our summer and our fall programming, it has not dampened the enthusiasm of anybody. The students all want to defer. The parents we started classes today on ground, face-to-face in St. Louis, and the parents are asking, well, when can my child study abroad? Our faculty just put in fabulous proposals for study abroad for next year. So I feel like there's an optimism about the future and not a looking forward to when we can get back to additional mobility. We also, of course, had to cancel or postpone our faculty mobility programs. So I think that what we're finding with our faculty and students is that the possibility for more online, or let's say remote opportunities through Zoom like this, it's a very good supplement or a very good addition to the real thing, but I don't think people see it as a substitute. You know, we had, for example, there was, you know, you saw the articles in Inside Higher Ed and Chronicle saying, well, let's put study abroad online. Personally, that's not it. We did propose a class this fall, a 1-credit class called, I forgot the name, Global Cultures maybe, which we thought, you know, for all those students who could not study abroad this fall, let's give them a 1-credit Zoom remote course where they can learn about the other campuses, including Kent State, Florence, and they can get some language practice and they can be ready to study abroad in the spring. So I think those kinds of ideas are very good, but I think a lot of our faculty and students would say it's not a substitute, it's a good addition. That said, the second thing I would say is we have long thought at Webster, you know, we have a strong online component to our university. About 1/5 of our students are fully online students. And we should take better advantage of technology to connect people globally, even without COVID. That has just sped it up, you know? So for example, there's no reason that we could not, well, there's no reason except time zones, let's say, that we could not have our communications class in Ghana join up with a communications class in Vienna, join up with a communications class in St. Louis. There's no reason we can't use technology to be more global in general. And so I think our faculty through this COVID experience have really expanded their willingness and understanding and ability to do really good remote learning, which I think bodes well for the future of bringing all of our international locations close to each other. But again, I don't think it's a substitute for getting off the train in Florence and having to find your way to the campus of Kent State.
Okay. Can I just read one comment and one question from the audience? Then I go back to you, so they just don't go hanging there. We have a comment from Kim McGrath. A great conversation. What a unique collaboration for me through Webster and working with Kent State over the years. Bravo. She just wrote a comment, which is good. And we have one question that I'm going to just pose, and we can discuss that. Can you share with us some future projects that will be offered in this campus, or the future of campus of Florence as well? So,
okay. Well, can I start?
Yeah.
Because that is the perfect hook for what I was about to say before, you know, based on your previous question, Paulo.
Yeah.
And I think that would complement the discussion that we were having. And maybe I'm being single-minded or maybe too romantic, but I really do have a dream and a vision of the way that we from PUCI want to use this shared campus in Florence, and going back to the idea of having a physical, you know, campus shared by 4 universities at the same time. When you mentioned faculty, my dream is that, you know, one day we will have PUCI courses taught by professors from Kent State and Dunkirk, and you know, Webster courses taught by professors from PUCI, together with faculty from Webster, and so on and so forth. So again, I think that the fact that we're physically present there together creates this amazing opportunity for, yes, our students, and we've been talking about that a lot, but also our faculty. You know, how cool it would be for a faculty member at PUCI to be a visiting professor for Dunkirk, but not in South Korea, but in Florence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, together with, and in the next room, right next door, there will be something going on from Kent State with professors from also PUCI. So you see, that to me is really exciting and fantastic. And I don't think it's too far away from us. You know, we just have to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So this is kind of what we see as a project for the future. So kind of answer both questions at the same time, right? We're working on our summer institute. It's going to be the first time that PUCI will offer courses following the model of a summer institute, and hopefully we'll be offering courses with faculty from PUCI, but also from our partners there.
Marcello.
Okay, so I answer the question and I make a comment first. What is happening at Webster that Nancy just said is exactly the same at Kent. We had this past few months, the record number of applicants to go abroad in the spring, and there is no spring study abroad. It's the highest number ever. So I think the impossibility to travel makes it even more desirable somehow. But then projects. This is a project and an invitation. We just had a conversation with our higher administration, and we are doing it. We want to create a showcase platform and have a full week of events to showcase all of our Kent State campuses, to draw the attention of other partners, of students, faculty to teach there, etc., along the lines of what Marcello was saying. And every week has a theme. One is targeting faculty, one is targeting students, one is for institutions, etc. We want to do this in the fall. And, in the spirit of sharing, I think this should not be just a Kent State event. I think all 4 universities should be featured, our 4 institutions should be featured in this virtual event, because we all have something to offer to students from wherever they are in the world. So if you are interested, I think we should add, we are already at 5 days. We might have a 6th day where we have the Friends of Kent State showcasing themselves.
Great idea. Yeah. Great idea.
So you let me know, and I think we can share more information about this, and we can try to organize it.
Wonderful.
We trust you, Marcello. We don't even need extra information. We trust you completely.
Yeah, which is good. We started this is as a webinar, and we are ending like a new project that go together. It's good. It's good when a webinar just have some outcomes as well. Jaewoo, do you want to comment and some thoughts about the future of the Florence campus from Dunkirk side?
Yes, I think that we'll, I am, now I'm back to my own department in chemical engineering, so I am no longer involved with the international affairs. But I would like to see, of course, more engagement, especially in Florence and PUCI and Webster, if that's all possible, so that we could have our students go and your students come to our campus, and to sort of have more activities, not only among students but also faculties, so that we could really promote internationalization amongst our good university partners.
Okay, thank you. Nancy, do you have some ideas for future projects at Florence campus?
Well, I would say it's not a specific future project, but what I've noticed at Webster, which I think is a very good development, is, and I think it's because, in part because of good partnerships, I think that when I first started working directly with our study abroad office a few years ago, it seemed that the main questions that students had about studying abroad was, or the first question was where do you want to go? So it started with location. And what I see now is a really good and strong connection with the academic program. So the first question is, what's your program? And if you are a film studies major or an animation major or a dance major, it starts there. What is your academic plans? And what I see in our program development in discussions with deans and department chairs is, as we talk about developing new academic programs and about strengthening and improving our existing programs, which for Webster means what's the global piece of that program. Every program should have a global focus.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We had some troubles. She froze a little bit. Yeah. Okay. We can wait a little. No. Just taking advantage of this frozen, we have another question that I think kind of addressed the issue that we are discussing. What about an online program developed by the 4 universities together? Do you think it's possible? We are kind of course, going beyond the idea of a campus, but actually an online program developed by the 4 universities together? Marcello? The mic.
The 5 of us, I'm including Nancy, the 5 of us should be directly involved. You know, we have a college of education and we teach higher education administration in all its various. I think a course with the expertise that we have for students in education on the value, the concept, the strategies, the challenges for internationalization, it's already a course we could do.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful.
It's the course and it's the work that we do.
Welcome back, Nancy. Sorry, you just...
That's no problem. I'm sure Marcello or somebody picked up and finished well for me, but yeah. Academic connections are important.
Yeah, okay, thank you. We are just discussing one question that popped out from the audience, that the idea that if the 4 universities together could offer an online program from the 4th university at the same time, I think is a new idea, actually, going beyond the idea of campus, of physical campus, but actually a new program, which is time. Marcello said it. We should do it in education. And Marcello, I think, he just raised his hand before you came back.
We can do that, but then we have to set up a wrap-up meeting in
Good. Yeah.
All right. That is
good idea.
Dinner.
Yeah.
Followed by dinner.
Yeah, followed by dinner, of course. In Florence, followed by dinner for several dinners with all courses.
Right. So
it would be actually fantastic if we could teach a course, because we could really bring what is study abroad or internationalization at Webster in Korea, in Italy, in Brazil, in the US. I think will be a tremendous experience for the students.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
If I may add to what Marcello said about the students in the education majors. We had previous cases where we invited U.S. students to come to our campus and go through the practicum. Okay, I think the students in education has to go through the practicum. So students who are interested in majoring in teaching English as a second language, or teaching Portuguese as a second language, or teaching Korean as a second language, whatever that may be, might be a good opportunity to do online, because that way they could do at home, but also the faculty can stay home, or students teaching other students, they could be at their location but actually interact with students at other side of the world, and in fact have ample students to practice their what they learned, particularly for the students teaching students, right? So that's an opportunity that I think that may have some demands from the students.
Okay, our time is ending, and unfortunately the time flies when you're having fun. But I want just to give the word from each one of you to have your final words or some considerations that you want to share with the audience as well. Can we start with Nancy?
Sure, thank you. Well, I would just say, before I get cut out again, I'll talk quickly, that I just appreciate the initiative for all of you of bringing this group together. I think especially during this COVID time when people's attention might not be on study abroad and might not be on the opportunity to travel internationally, I think to keep the conversations going is really important, to continue to encourage our students, our faculty, and even our staff. We haven't talked much about staff, but I would say the staff connection and staff mobility is another piece of what I think makes our partnership with Kent State in Florence very strong. So I just want to say thank you and kudos for doing this. And as I think Marcello said, the next time we should definitely have this conference in person at Florence, and hopefully not before too long.
Before too long, yeah. Wonderful, thank you. Marcello?
Yes, well, thank you so much, because this was a great conversation, and I hope many people can benefit from it. But for me, it was also a great pleasure to see all together good friends. So thank you so much for arranging this. And as Nancy did, I would add another thing that we did not discuss, but I think research is another important piece of collaboration. And having campuses around the world, even if it's logistical support or connecting people to the right institutions, this is something we would have to investigate in the future. But thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you all.
Thank you, Marcello. Jaewoo?
Yes, it was great to get to know Nancy, of course, and I know Marcello, was great to see you again, and another Marcello. So it was great for you to invite me to the symposium, and had a wonderful opportunity to discuss. Although right now we still in the vacation time, so I don't get up this early, but I made an effort to get up this early today.
Thank you.
But it was great to be here and talk to you. It was wonderful. I hope to somehow in the future get to see all of you again. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Jaewoo. Thank you. Marcello?
Yes, thank you so much. I just want to finish by again emphasizing the what I think it's a great symbolism of Campus Florence, a place that is shared by 4 different universities from 4 different continents, and it couldn't be more eloquent than that, right? No matter what we do there, and we're going to do a lot of things together, I'm pretty sure. The symbolism of it to me is extremely powerful. And with that, I would like to thank you guys, my friends. It's been an amazing hour. I wish we had more time to do this, but we'll let Jaewoo, start his Tuesday there in Korea, and we'll all get some rest. But once again, thank you so much for making this happen. For us at PUCPR, having you guys participating and contributing to our symposium is an incredible honor and a pleasure. So once again, friends, thank you. And thanks, Paulo, for being this brilliant host.
Thank you so much, Marcello, actually for inviting me to be part of this tremendous conversation. I had tons of fun here. And actually, as Nancy highlighted, the importance of still discussing internationalization during these critical times that we are living. So thank you so much for all your experts' thoughts that you share with us. And I just want to remember everybody that if you want the certificate of participation, you can just click on the link that is on the chat in the side of the video. Thank you so much. Have a good night and a good day for Jaewoo.
Thank you. Thank you, Paulo, for everything.
See you soon in Florence, hopefully.
Yes.
Great seeing you.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.